Today we're getting into something really personal. Why do we get stuck in life? Why do we find ourselves repeating the same patterns over and over again? We're going to dive into some of the hidden forces that might be shaping our lives and explore some powerful ways to create real, lasting change.
You know that feeling, right? It's like you're running on a hamster wheel. Maybe it's in your relationships, maybe it's at your job. The details change, but that feeling of being stuck is exactly the same. It's exhausting. So what is actually going on here?
All right, so let's get right into it. That feeling of just hitting a wall, it's not a personal failure. It's usually a sign that just trying harder, pure willpower, is never going to be enough. Why? Because we're often not even looking at the real problem.
We all know this one. And yeah, there's truth to it. Getting through tough stuff can absolutely make us grow. But getting back up after being knocked down takes a ton of energy. And the whole point is to come back with hope, not just exhausted. So the real question is, where does that energy even come from?
And this is a really key idea. All that pain, that fear, that suffering, what if it's not the actual problem? What if it's just a symptom? Think of it like the check engine light in your car. The light isn't the issue, right? It's a signal telling you something deeper is wrong. These feelings are just temporary signposts pointing to a blockage that really needs our attention.
Okay, so if the pain is just the symptom, what's the disease? This is where things get really interesting. We have to start looking at a totally different level. This idea that our struggles are rooted in a kind of unseen energetic world that's shaping our lives in ways we might not even realize. So the core concept here is this. We aren't just flesh and bone, we're energetic beings. I mean, think about it. You can feel the vibe of a room, right? That's kind of what we're talking about. We all have this emotional, psychological field around us. And we're constantly interacting with the energy of everything and everyone around us. And that exchange, it's shaping our reality, whether we're aware of it or not. So what are these systems we're talking about? Well, honestly, they're everything. Your family, of course, but also your ancestors going way back, your job, your group of friends, your neighborhood, even the country you live in. And here's the kicker. Every single one of these systems has its own energetic history, its own unresolved stuff, its own beliefs, its own patterns. And guess what? That stuff can get passed down right to us.
Okay, I know this can sound a little out there, so let's use a really powerful example to make it concrete. Picture a nanny. Years ago, something awful happened in her family, a real tragedy, and she's carrying this deep, deep sadness with her that's never really been resolved.
Now let's be clear, she's a great nanny. She's professional, she loves this kid she's taken care of, but on that unseen, energetic level, she's unconsciously passing on that sadness to the child. She doesn't mean to, of course. It's just an energetic transfer happening below the surface.
So what happens? Fast forward a couple decades. That kid is now an adult, and they're dealing with this persistent sadness that they just can't shake. It makes no sense. They go to therapy, they try to figure it out, but nothing connects because the real root of it isn't even in their own life story. It's an energetic entanglement from someone else's system.
So does this mean we're just victims of all these invisible forces? No way, not at all. This is where the power comes back to us. This is where we talk about the solution, the path of what's called self-work. It's a conscious journey to change things from the inside out. And this isn't some quick fix, weekend retreat kind of thing. It's a conscious, disciplined process. It really is a commitment to looking at all of ourselves, the good, the bad, the stuff we hide, and learning to accept it. And yeah, it takes courage. It takes persistence. You have to know why you're doing it. So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, it's about real, tangible actions. Things like setting firm boundaries to protect your own energy. It's about actually forgiving yourself for past mistakes, because beating yourself up gets you nowhere. It means living with purpose and practicing real self-care, the kind that actually builds self-respect and self-love. Okay, so self-work is the path forward. But how do you navigate it? It's a big journey. Well, there's this really fascinating tool that's almost like a map for this inner energetic world. It's called Systemic Constellations. Now, there's a really important distinction to make here. You might have heard of family constellations, which focuses just on your blood relatives. But systemic constellations casts a much wider net. It looks at anyone who had a major energetic impact on your system. Think back to that nanny from our story. She'd be included in a systemic constellation. And the process itself is actually pretty straightforward when you break it down. First, you pinpoint the problem you're stuck on. Then, you basically create a map of everyone or everything that's relevant to that issue.
What happens next is amazing. The process starts to reveal the hidden dynamic, the real root cause. And the final step is all about restoring balance and letting that blocked energy flow freely again.
All right, so you do all this deep inner work. Then what? Where does it all lead? What's the end game here?
And let's be real for a second. The goal isn't to suddenly have a perfect, problem-free life. That's not how life works. The goal is to build a deep sense of self-acceptance, to become more resilient, and, most importantly, to gain the freedom to finally break those old patterns and make choices that are actually, truly yours.
You know, there's this great quote that really sums up the ultimate skill we get from all this work. In a world that's always changing, it's not about being the strongest or the smartest. The key to not just surviving, but actually thriving, is being adaptable.
And just think about what makes someone adaptable. They're curious, they're flexible, they're creative problem solvers. They see new situations as an opportunity, not something to be scared of. And what's so cool is that when you do this inner work, when you clear out all that old baggage, you just naturally start to become more like that. You get better at handling, well, whatever life decides to throw at you.
In the end, it really all boils down to this. When we can finally see and change those limiting beliefs and patterns we picked up from our systems, we set ourselves free. We stop repeating someone else's story, and we finally get the chance to write our own, to live the life we truly, authentically want. So, that leaves us with one final thought. We are all carrying these stories, right? From our families, our ancestors, all the systems that have shaped us. The real question is, what unseen story from your past is just sitting there, waiting for you to rewrite it?